You're listening to the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio for this episode is Cassie Melvin. Cassie's an amazing young woman who focuses on peak wellness and performing at high levels in the backcountry. She's an outdoor enthusiast, hunter. I really enjoyed having her in studio. This was a great episode. Enjoy the listen.
I'm ready. Let's
do this. It was really cool meeting you for the first time at the Capitol the other day. What an awesome event.
Yeah, that really was awesome. Yeah, very cool event. Lots of people there, and it was just great.
How did you get involved with CRWM? I almost said CPW. We're going to talk about that later. Yeah. How did you get involved with CRWM, and how did you find out about them? I'm always curious about, especially being a female in the hunting space and stuff, because I feel like the people that need to be targeted on the education of ballot box biology are kind of fit your demographic, but maybe not non-hunters, right?
Right. And so really it kind of goes back to the wolf reintroduction, all the way back to that. I know that CRWM wasn't necessarily around during that time, but that's kind of when it started piquing my interest, the ballot box biology. And I was really just trying to educate people, let's leave wildlife management in the experts' hands. Let's not leave it up to the Front Range or to people, like you said, that are just uneducated, not hunters, like that kind of thing, right? So obviously that passed. We see how that's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's been a little wild. But so then when this came about with the mountain lion and 127, when this became a proposition and all that, that's when I, same thing, just wanted to advocate and educate people. I personally am not a mountain lion hunter, but it's not necessarily just about that, right? It's about, again, wildlife management, leaving it in the hands of the experts and not ballot box biology, right? So
1,000%. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have no desire to go hunt lions.
Right.
But I saw the underlying just being involved with it. That's crazy that you were involved with the wolf thing too, because that we were tried to be a voice for it, but we didn't have a Dan Gates back then. There was a few people that were kind of playing in that space, but I really feel like he's the man that kind of held everybody together, brought everybody together, was the face of it. And it blows me away how well-spoken he is and how ruthless he can be, but politically correct.
Right. And that's the thing too. It's we don't all mountain lion hunt. We don't all elk hunt. It's but if you realize, if this is taken away, they're just going to start chipping away at other stuff. So it's a matter of getting everybody together to go against this one thing, because eventually it's going to affect all of us, right? So I think that's where Dan did an awesome job, because he's it's not just about mountain lion hunting. Let's not just get the mountain lion hunters. Let's get the elk hunters and the deer. Everybody just needs to come together to kind of fight this together, because it's going to affect all of us, right?
Yeah, I think another thing too that was really incredible that I was able to even ride his coattails on is he put everything so well and put it together so well and spoke so in such a highly educated way that it gave me ammunition to where I felt like I had confidence, where I could really talk to somebody about it on here, or change somebody's opinion on here, or it brought so many things to life in science and what goes into it and mountain lion populations. I learned so much. So that was really cool, just learning.
Right.
And
that's what was frustrating too, because it's we had somebody approach me to sign, when they were trying to do the petitions to get the signatures. And I'm sure, being a female, I was, by myself. She comes up to me to talk to me about, hey, would you sign this so we can ban mountain lion
this is a
hunting?
gimme, right?
Yeah, I'm sure she would. And I was like, wait a second, no, I'm not going to sign that. And so I tried to educate her a little bit too, in a nice, calm, professional way. Just, people eat mountain lion. They're not just killing them just to kill them, right? And it's also population control and wildlife management and all the things. And it got a little heated on her side. She's like, well, you don't know anybody that eats mountain lion. I was like, well, yeah. You
actually, I have some in my freezer.
To, right?
It's actually really tasty. It's not, it's incredible if it's prepared.
Yeah.
Correctly.
I've never had it, but I imagine it would be good. I haven't had any game that I don't like, so.
Yeah, it's way better than what you buy it from the butcher, you know, at Safeway or King Supers, and that's no knock on any of those brands. Like, they're providing food to the masses, but
well, that's the thing too. It's like I've been reading The Comfort Crisis. Have you read that book, Michael
I haven't
Easter?
dove into it, but it's on my list.
Yeah, it's so good. It talks about though how removed people are from their food and from especially meat. Like when you can just go to the grocery store and pick up a pack of chicken, you have no idea where it comes from or what that chicken's gone through. It's just you're just grabbing a pack of chicken. You
I mean, that's really why
right?
like PETA exists and stuff like that, is all those animal processing plants and stuff. That's always what they're showing. When I'm walking in the streets in San Francisco and they're showing videos, it's always of like a slaughterhouse. It's never of hunters, thank God. Hopefully they're not listening to this, but yeah, it's horrible. Like, I don't think hunters want animals to go through that same sort of process. Like that's not a good life. It's not a good way to be raised. I think hunters care about animals more than your average person.
Exactly. That's why we practice our skill, right? To get better and to just hopefully make just one shot so it doesn't suffer, you know?
Absolutely. How did you get into the comfort crisis? Was it just something that came up, or did you?
I'm always kind of diving into, you know, self-help books or whatever, self-improvement.
Yeah.
But that book, it's awesome because it does talk about, so he was a writer for like Fitness Magazine or something, but he was asked to go on this hunt. He'd never hunted before. And it was in Alaska, a caribou hunt. So he goes with these guides, and they told him, because he was just going to write about the experience, right? They told him, they were like, you don't have to hunt if you don't want to, but we recommend for you to get the full experience and to immerse yourself into it, you should hunt.
Absolutely.
So it's such a cool book. It talks about...
Can you pull that up, Tyler? Yeah,
it's
so
really
we can
cool.
give the author some credit and stuff.
Yeah. But he talks about how, obviously, since humans were first around, we've always been seeking comfort. And that, you know, all these years later, now we're too comfortable, right?
Way too comfortable.
And he talks about even just flying out there when he's going to Alaska. Like, he's upset because he's hot in his airplane seat and the peanuts are not salted or whatever. You know, it's like it's just we're so comfortable that it's easy to complain about stuff. But then once he's out in the backcountry in Alaska for, you know, 12 days or however long he's out there, he's cold, he's hot, he's tired, you know, he's walking a ton. Like, there's all these things that you go through when you're hunting that it's like, or just in the backcountry in general, that it's like you start appreciating the smaller things when you come back. Like, you turn the faucet on when you come back after a 10-day hunt, and it's like, oh, there's water.
Your first shower?
Yeah, your first shower.
It's not in a stream or out of a bag, you know? It's like fucking amazing.
Right, right? Doesn't matter where you have it. It could be a day's in. And
oh,
it's
man,
like,
the biggest thing is getting up in the middle of the night. Because I'm a man over my 40s, you got to get up in the middle of the night and pee. And it's like, to get out of your bivy sack.
Yep.
Oh,
like,
my God, that's miserable.
Rather
you know?
suffer and have to pee the rest of the night, or...
Right. I've even thought about, like, maybe I should just bring a catheter. And I was like, no, then I got to deal with that whole thing. And it's like, that can't be pleasant, right?
Yeah,
like, I've never had to have one, thank God. But I can't imagine
that
it.
would be very comfortable hiking around.
But I tell you what, when it's 28 degrees and you got to get out of your bag in your underwear, it's not the best thing, you know?
Yeah. So,
so Michael Easter, The Comfort Crisis. Okay, I'm going to dive into this.
I mean, he talks about everything. Like, I've had to read it multiple times because there's so much content in there. But just how often we're on our phone during the day, how many times we touch our phone. And I'm guilty of it too, so I'm not judging anybody because I'm the same way. But it's like, we're bored, we pick up our phone. It's like, today we can't even be bored, right? Because that's when people are the most creative when they're bored, because they're thinking about, you know, planning whatever or writing lists or, you know, but it's like now we can't even be bored. We're scrolling on Instagram, which really is
it's
boring,
such a time suck. I mean, it gets me too.
Yeah.
I love watching my friends thrive.
Right.
So I've made some rules for myself, like personal rules when it comes to Instagram, that I have to go to their actual page. And if I'm going to scroll, I can't just scroll through the feed because there's so many advertisements and my algorithm is a mess, right? There's a bunch of, you don't look at my algorithm. That's all I'm going to say.
But there is a lot to learn. Like, you know, I learn a lot from Instagram and from other people. So
but I've used it. Oh, no. And it's helped us so much with the podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just as guilty. We're putting up content that's kind of clickbaity, kind of like catches your attention. Like there's a process to that too, right? Like there's some real methodology and psychology that goes into that that's helped us grow like on YouTube and other platforms. But I always try to be respectful and not use AI, use actual content for my guests and that sort of thing. And they're typically happy with what we're putting out, you know?
And it's different too when it's your business. Like that's what you do. That's your work, you know? So
yeah. And we're not using AI to create it. There's all kinds of platforms out there now that do that. So I'm trying to hold fast and like not go down that road.
AI's
and I had a meeting. I had a meeting yesterday with a guy in Ireland. He's awesome. Shout out to Shirley, who I don't even know his last name. It was the first time I spoke to him, but got introduced to him through another friend of mine that's a videographer. And he came back. He's like, let me help you improve your channel and all this stuff. And Shirley, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. This is no knock on you. But like part of the mountainside is being authentic, true, that backcountry feeling, like you said, like truly appreciating something for what it is, and not just a video of, you know, AI, like catchy stuff. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't do fun stuff. Like we had a martial artist in, shout out to Scott Miller. He runs Evergreen Jiu-Jitsu and coaches in the UFC. So we made a clip that was like, started with Wu-Tang Clan, then showed Bruce Lee, but it was in context. It was what we were talking about, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm always trying to keep it true and authentic in that, to show the guests. So anyway, Shirley's like, yeah, let me help you out. I'm a wizard. I worked for Dell for, 25 years and I know the internet and I really know AI. And he's like, you can have an AI employee and it will cut out like you having to write bios and it will post for you and I'll do all this stuff. And he's like, thumbnails and all this time that you guys spend doing the artwork, it can do that for you. I was like, well, yeah, show me what it can do. So he sent me this AI generated thing and it just happened to be of Donnie Dust, which is a human that I hold in the highest regard. And I think that what he does is amazing. That the amount of craftsmanship, I mean, he's a true artist when you start looking at these stone points. And then his experience to have colleges, archaeological departments hire him to recreate stone tools says something, right? So it's like, I don't want an AI generated thing of him that
crazy.
Says, it was really cool. I mean, it looked a lot like him, but it was still kind of cartoonish. Like you could tell if you really started looking at it.
Which is creepy too.
And then it titled it too, Hunter or Hunted, I think, or something like that. So it was like a catchy, like a clickbaity thing, like Hunter or Hunted.
Right.
Instead of just crazy. Donnie Dust the Mountainside. So I'm trying to keep it like.
Did you tell Donnie?
Sure. No, I would never share it. Well, he's going to listen to this now.
Well, you know now, Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie, if you're napping right now, don't throw an arrowhead at me or anything, dude. Like, yeah, so yeah, it's a crazy world. It scares the shit out of me, right?
Yeah,
and especially like if you start looking at the opposition of 127 and when we were going through that, everything that they did was AI generated.
Yeah,
like even a female like speaking, excuse me. I have these weird allergies happening today. Even like this young lady speaking on behalf of whatever organization it was. I think it was cats or something. Right, cats aren't trophies.
And they're not even in our state, right?
No. That's the crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
They have no boots on the ground experience. They haven't lost a pet to a mountain lion or know what the populations are at. They're literally making cartoons. Like the other stuff that I saw was like, it was very like Disney-esque, I guess. I don't even know if that's not even a word, but it was really driven on to pull the heartstrings of people and like,
like
the
these
weird
cats
thing is,
are getting out of out of control and they're going to eat your pets and
right. Yeah. And then the other thing is they always add a human connection to an animal, which is the furthest thing from the truth. And this is why I love like Nature's Metal. And like the stuff that I share, I don't know if you saw my post over the weekend of the killer whales, like taking out the baby calves and stuff.
That was crazy.
So, I mean, that's a bucket list for me, right? Like to go photograph killer whales or just see them.
Right. It's like nature is not this like, like calm, peaceful. I mean, it can be, right?
Yeah.
But it's brutal out there.
It is very brutal. And I don't always like post it up, but I'll put it on my story or something, and more on my personal page.
Yeah.
If you go to my personal page,
that was wild.
You might find
and
it,
that's
Tyler.
the thing too, like going back to that book, he talks about too, like how people can be against hunting, but it's like really, if there's so many different ways that these animals can die in the wild, like
It's so much worse,
they're
too.
gonna freeze, they're gonna get old, and break a leg, and then they can't walk around. It's like then they're gonna be suffering. So it's like
They might get eaten alive.
Right. Yeah.
It was funny because, not to bring Donnie up again, but I shared a clip with him over the weekend. Actually, Tyler, go back to our Instagram and go to saved. Figure out where there are saved on the bottom. Go down just a little bit.
Do you have a video of the bison?
Yeah, I can show you a clip of that here in just a minute. Go to all posts. Dana White, shirtless. Damn it. I don't think.
Oh, you didn't save it?
Okay, so anyways, I'm just going to explain it.
Yeah,
Tyler, keep
crazy
digging
video.
and see if you can find this. You might have to log in under my personal IG. But anyways, there was a grizzly, and it was an expired bison or a dead bison. And this grizzly or brown bear just goes up to it and literally a huge bull, just pulls it over to flip it on its other side. So I sent it to Donnie because we had just gotten finished in October. Must have been October of last year. We did a 2,200 pound bison. We had 10 of us, and it took all 10 of us just to move half of it, right? Like we worked on half of it just to flip the other half. Like to even move it around to just even get started was impossible. I mean, a leg and a hoof and all that, it's probably 300 pounds. Like the back straps. When we were cutting the back straps out of it, it was like the size of like a python or something is how I can explain it. And just dead weight, right?
They're
so,
huge.
When you get into that field dressing process, to get the back straps, you kind of hold it up and start cutting it out. And you're trying to keep as much of the meat intact.
Yep.
But it got so heavy and it's so much slower with stone that my arms were fatiguing. Once we got like halfway through, I was like, we're going to have to cut this in half.
Wow,
like
that's
I
crazy.
can't hold it. Like it's just.
And with stone. So with
stone.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. It's shocking. And I've talked about this ad nauseum on this. And we've done so many podcasts on it. But I'm shocked. Like the biggest takeaway from it is I'm shocked at how effective stone is. And how humbling it is to have a steel knife in your hand at the same time,
so
right?
Going back to like being thankful for stuff, it's like, oh, now I have a nice.
That's exactly why I did it. That's why I said yes. And I was like scared to death, like going into that, I was like, oh my God, like, but it's good to have those feelings, like to kind of push through that. And,
right. Puts perspective on things.
Oh yeah. I'm never going to complain about cutting up an elk in the backcountry and boning it out. Like,
how can you complain
with a nice
about that
knife?
Anyway, though, right?
No. Normally I'm like grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, to kind of take it full circle back to like your connection with meat and how animals, they just don't have human emotions, right?
Which is hard for us to understand because
we want to relate everything to
what
like.
do you mean they don't have emotions?
I think dolphins.
My dog does have emotions.
Oh yeah, but dogs definitely do. I guess dolphins do too.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty crazy. Like they're one of the only animals that has sex for pleasure, I think, or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, but they're very. It's almost like rape when you get down to it. Like it's wild.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And I've heard that on some other podcast or something somewhere, so
like
who knows if
read a
it's
book on
right.
it.
Some marine biologist is going to rip us apart right now. But yeah, it's just, I always try to share, like, do you follow Nature is Metal? Have you seen that Instagram page? Pull that up, Tyler.
Yeah.
This is like my favorite Instagram follow in the world. But it is all just animals eating animals pretty much.
Wait, is that where the whale was?
I tagged them in it because I know the guy that runs this page,
gotcha.
which is kind of secretive. But it's all just, it's just crazy shit. Like this polar bear about eats this guy. He's like shooting at it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, give us some volume, Tyler.
Dang. Whoa. He just left his gun, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I've never heard of
So
this
if you
page.
scroll down this page a little bit, yeah, you got to add this to the algorithm. This is probably why my algorithm's so fucked up. But like, keep scrolling down, Tyler. God, I'm sorry, I'm coughing all over the place. I should have got some cough drops today.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
See, yeah,
I mean, it
nature
shows
is brutal.
Yeah, it shows that nature's metal. Like it's about as hardcore as it gets, right? Like, and most people don't really get to experience this or see this. And I've always kind of said, it's like, if you're gonna be able to vote on wildlife policy or like, let's say defund the police, I think it has to be confined in people that are either veterans in that job or have experienced that job or have been on so many ride-alongs or like has some sort of experience in it. Right. And I know that's really hard to do because not every person in those positions is a good person, right? So you're going to have a few bad apples. I mean, it's that way in the hunting community too, exactly. Right? But I think that nobody has more of an intimate setting with nature other than hunters or wildlife photographers because you're really trying to fit in with nature. You're trying to be quiet. You have to
understand them. And
you're understanding the wind. You're understanding smell, like the smell of cow urine. Like anybody that hunts elk knows exactly what that is. Right. It almost gets like excited. You're smelling piss, right? Like some guys spray it on themselves, like I've been guilty of that. I've done it before. And, like back in the day, we used to think that was like the way to go. You smell horrible, but like to me, it's almost like a good odor. Yeah. When I get into a wallow or something, I'm like, all right, we're here. Yeah. Like
it is exciting.
It's super exciting. So I think experiencing those little things, I don't think people do when you're on a mountain bike or when you're on a trail run, and especially if you have AirPods or you're just flying down a hill on a mountain bike, and there's nothing against that. Right. I think people still have connections with nature, but I just don't think it's as intimate. I don't think you go as I don't go as far on a mountain bike ride as I do in the backcountry pursuing elk. Right. I'm not I'm not mountain biking into like this steep ravine.
Yeah, you're on a trail that's groomed, and you have a certain distance that you're going to go, and
you're normally encountering other people. Like you're trying to stay away from other people, honestly, when you're hunting. For the most part.
And hunting, I mean, it really is just so primitive. Like it takes you back to your primal instincts and your primal roots. Just like you said, paying attention to the smells and the wind and the migration corridors and all the things, right?
Yeah, and really understanding like animals and their true like beauty, I guess. And I think that's why I can argue that hunters care more about animals than just the person that parks and is experiencing nature through a hike or a backcountry backpack trip or something like that.
Or you're at Rocky Mountain National Park and the elk are everywhere and they're just,
Or Evergreen. I mean, it's like that here. We have resident elk that are it's insane. We all have 300 class bulls walk down Main Street here in front of the studio. So
smart bulls.
Yeah. Super smart. It's crazy because they show up about like August 28th or something like that.
They're here through like November.
Yeah, if you're a bow hunter, you will understand this because the first hunting season is archery season and it starts September 2nd. Yeah, so they move like this huge bull. I'll show you a photo of him here in a little bit. Or actually, Tyler, you can pull it up. Go to earthironsociety.com.
Well, that's one thing so going back to like, hunters being some of the biggest wildlife lovers, that's one thing that kills me the most is when I'm out at one of the open spaces or something at work and we see a deer and they look at me and they're like, hey, there's a deer. I bet you want to shoot it. And it's like, no, it's not like that. Like hunters, and like we said, there are some that are, bad apples, but for the most part, like we respect wildlife. Yeah. They live in the elements. They're out there 24/7 and we just respect how they live and move and breed and, and what they eat and how they're there throughout the whole winter and, all this stuff. So
this is my favorite thing to do is catch them on camera. And that's really pixelated. It should load. This is on the golf course in Evergreen. Wow. It looks like it's somewhere else.
It really is Rocky Mountain National Park.
I mean, this guy, I've I've named him, right? So here we go. I talk about giving animals human characteristics, but I've named him King because every year, and this is from a few years ago. This year he was 9 by 11, I think, and just this massive bull.
A monster.
And he comes back every year. It's the same bull, and
it's
he just
so cool
thrives.
how you see him like every year, and they're similar, but there's some difference to them.
I'm wondering when he's not going to come back. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Did you ever see the bull Brutus in Rocky Mountain National Park, Marine Park?
Brutus? Was that a few years ago?
It was.
It's not split 5.
Some guy found his he expired, but he found his full skull, and he's like,
I didn't know about that.
This iconic elk.
I did know that Peanut. Did you know about Peanut?
No.
So Peanut last year in Rocky Mountain National Park was like a character. He was charging vehicles and like rubbing on the cars, and I mean, he's a pretty aggressive bull.
Wow.
But they found out. So he was there in September, and they found out somebody took him. I don't know if it was archery or rifle season, but they found out that a hunter took him. I mean, he was a nice bull too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the game, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, you kind of want like. There's no way that I would pass on King if I saw him.
Yeah.
In a prime archery spot, and I had a legal tag to take him. I mean, his teeth are so worn out that he's probably having trouble eating grass now. Like, so the bull's probably going to be like 12. He's got like gray hair almost. I mean, he's getting up there, and you're starting to see his rack is getting smaller because it's starting to degenerate. Mm-hmm. So like, those are the bulls that you kind of want to take out of the gene pool, right? Like, they've spread their gene enough. They've had their time. So it's like, it's kind of a misconception that hunters are going after the biggest, baddest animals solely for bragging rights or something like that. Right. There is also some science behind it as well.
Go for the older one because, like you said, they're going to start deteriorating and not being able to eat.
Which is better for the herd, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or get injured because they're trying to fight and they're not as strong as they were. And
I think that hunters understand wildlife biology much more because they have to read the rules and regulations and recognize sex, and then also like point restrictions, right? Like the reason why those are there is so you're not killing a young bull before he can have time to procreate, right? Like it's better for the herd. Like it's all about what's better for the entire population of the species.
Right.
To the point where people are pouring their money into Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation or Ducks Unlimited. And like, you know, a lot of people that hunt and fish are blue collar. Like I consider myself that, you know.
Right.
And you, and even though I'm in the podcast space, like I still work hard for my money, but I also put my money into that, whether I'm buying equipment, tags, and then also donations, you know, like donating to CRWM or people that protect it or organizations that protect
Rocky
it.
Mountain National Park, or Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And that, and that's the thing too. It's like, it's not just a hobby. Like it becomes your lifestyle, right? All year long, you're training for the backcountry and training for that pack out. And, you know, it just becomes ingrained in you that that's just part of your life, right? It's not just a hobby that you do, you know, go out for archery in August or go out for 10 days in October. You know, it just becomes who you are, kind of.
You can't just go out and be successful for, I mean, you can have some luck, but like you said, it's a year-long thing. Like the only reason that I chase any sort of fitness in my life, honestly, is I'd probably just be on the lazy boy watching sports, yelling at the TV, drinking beer.
But you got to pick up that kettlebell because you got that hunt in August.
Exactly. I got to shoot my bow. I got to go to American Bowman. I got to hike. I got to start rucking. I got to, you know, packing a quarter out is no easy feat, you know. And you got it, if you're by yourself, that's 5 or 6 trips. And you got it, depending on how deep you are, and elk live in deep, dark holes. It's not going to be like you're going to get on a trail and walk out. Or my experience where I hunt, I've never killed anything where it was just like an easy, like, oh, it's right by the road. We can pull the truck up, or, you know, or it's on this ranch. Like,
it's funny because my very first pack out, it was a bull that my husband had killed. And I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into. I grew up in Georgia. Like I didn't.
Yeah, I want to dive into this. Let's just start from the beginning.
Okay.
If you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
Grew up in Georgia, so not in the Rocky Mountains.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Grew up, family's blue collar. We didn't grow up hunting. Like my dad was a hunter. His dad wasn't a hunter. Like I think my uncle hunted a little bit, but I mean, we didn't even have guns in our house. Like we grew up very rural area of Georgia. My parents had like a sawed-off BB gun to shoot off like stray dogs when they would come around, but it wasn't like
sawed-off BB gun.
Yeah, sawed-off BB gun.
Nice.
My mom would grab when a dog came in the yard, you know. But yeah, just didn't grow up hunting. The first time I ever went hunting was with a girlfriend and her brother in Georgia, and we sat in a stand. It's just such different hunting too, and nothing against how people hunt in Georgia. It's just different. You have to hunt different there. But we were in a stand, like in a blind, and I think that's the best nap I've ever had in my life. Like just sit there for 15 minutes.
It's the most I've ever freezed my ass off is in a tree stand in the middle of
because you're just sitting there, just
plains,
waiting. Yeah, it's hard. It's
miserable.
Yeah. So I knew then, I was like, all right, hunting's just not, it's just not really for me. And again, same thing, like the gun, you know, I just didn't have much experience with guns and all that stuff. But so anyway, long story short, I meet my husband. He's a big hunter. Like he grew up hunting in Georgia. I mean, I think that when he was 10 years old, he's walking around the woods shooting squirrels, you know, like he just grew up with guns, grew up hunting. So when we moved to Colorado, he really got into backcountry hunting. Like he just obviously fell in love with it. And I still was just kind of like, I wasn't against hunting, but it was just never something that I was into before. So, but I love nature. Like I grew up camping, just not hunting, you know, so I love being in nature and, you know, grew up playing sports, like all the stuff that I feel like goes into backcountry hunting, like the endurance and the challenge and the mental strength and all of that stuff. Like I loved all that. I just wasn't comfortable with the gun, you know, because again, didn't really use one. So when my husband started hunting, I started going with him and I loved it. Like I thought it was a blast being out there walking around in the woods and you got a pack and, you know, looking for animals. But I was always behind him, you know, he moved one way, I'd go with him. Like it was just, we moved together and I just went with him. He was the hunter and I was just there in case we got something. I was the pack animal, right?
Nice.
So yeah, I feel like I was the best hunting partner ever.
Man, he hit the lottery.
So the first bull that he got when I was with him, we packed it out, but I had like a Gregory backpack, like a hiking backpack, and packing quarters out with that thing was miserable. It sucked. But I was still hooked. Like I was like, this is hard. Like this is one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like you know, it was dark at that point when we were packing it out. I'm in the stupid backpack that has like the real thin belt buckle right here. So it's like digging in, you know, it's not like an EXO or a Kafaru or anything, you know. So going back
you're filling
to like
every ounce of meat on your shoulders, basically.
And every time, like, you know, you go over a tree or something and it's like falling over. And
I mean, people don't realize that an elk quarter, even on a cow, can be every bit of 100 pounds unless you bone it out, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's
heavy.
That's
and
a lot.
I mean, and I hadn't been training for that either because, like, again, I didn't know what I was getting into. I mean, I'm all like I've always been one to work out and be at the gym and run and stuff like that, but I wasn't training specifically for that. Like that's different, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
So anyway, went with him quite a bit, and I felt like at the time I was like, okay, I think I just need to hunt too. Like, why not? I'm just going to start doing it too.
Double your chances.
Double our chances, right. So I kind of just dove right into it, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I told my husband, I was like, it's kind of like you're working with a 10-year-old because I don't have a lot of experience with guns. So it's like I'm a child again, trying to figure out a gun and, you know, trying to shoot an animal. Like it's very intimidating, right? So I think when I first started, it wasn't like I really wanted to. And it wasn't pressure from anybody, but I just felt like I had to, right? Because if I'm going on these trips, like, I feel like I need to, right? But at that point, I didn't feel like it was because I wanted to. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. Can I ask you a question? I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but like, I think your approach into hunting might be the best way to approach if you want to get into hunting, to approach it, because the easy part is pulling the trigger or finding an animal and letting the arrow go. Like, the work begins after that, and it's very daunting. And to kind of take it back to, people eat lion meat and stuff like that. It is against the law if you get an animal down and you don't take every consumable piece of it and have it processed for human consumption. And that includes not getting it out in time and letting it spoil.
Right.
Like, technically, CPW or Colorado Parks and Wildlife can write you a ticket. You can lose your hunting privileges. You can even go to jail over it.
Right.
I don't know for sure, but it might be a federal crime. I know
you're right. I'm pretty sure you are. It's funny, though, that you say that that's the easy part, is pulling the trigger, because to me, that was the hard part. Like, I was like, I don't want to injure an animal. Like, that was my biggest fear. And
like, emotionally, that was the hard part. That emotionally, that is the hardest part for me, honestly. Like, I do not like to kill stuff. I don't like to see stuff die. Like, if I had to, yes, I know that I can do that. Do I do it every year? I do.
Right.
But I do it for everything else that happens. But there's a sad, sad moment.
Right.
Every time that I let an arrow go, which I don't pull a trigger for that very reason, because I don't have the same sort of, and this is no knock on anybody,
have that connection to it like you do with the bow.
It's just like it's
I
almost, I don't know. It's just not
it's like
as
it's
spiritual
unfair.
for me. It's not. It is fair. And it needs to be done. And I don't knock anybody that hunts with a rifle and doesn't hunt with a bow. I've just hunted with a bow since I was a kid, and I grew up in a family of bow hunters. So that's what I know. And that's where I've had my most intimate experiences with animals, I think, and the closeness and the difficulty. And I feel like the more difficult something is, the more you appreciate it. Just like, I think that's a huge connection to me in hunting, is every time that I put down my dinner plate and there's elk or deer or bison, even if I didn't kill it, but I went through the entire butchering process for 16 hours with my buddy Donnie Dust, like, it brings a smile to my face preparing it.
And that goes back to that disconnect that people have when they go to the grocery store and they're just buying meat. Like, they have no idea where that came from. So, it makes you appreciate it even more, because you know what you went through to get it.
Yeah.
You kind of know a little bit of what that animal went through, and the life that it lived in the backcountry. It just makes you more grateful and appreciative, less wasteful, I think, too, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't waste any of it. I think that that's the best way to honor the animal, is to not waste any of it, right? And I think it's okay to have, I'm not even going to call it a trophy. I think it's okay to have a skull or a mount or something, because
it's memories, right?
It does. It takes you back to it the same way it does on your dinner plate. But it's over time, if it's in the freezer for more than 3 years, it's done.
Right.
It's no good. Ours barely lasts a year, right?
It's like time to go back out. We're out of meat.
Yeah, 100%. And there's no cleaner way to eat, and the family loves to eat it. So I think that that's a way to honor the animal forever, right? Like, and I think there's so much value in those memories. Like, we have some elk racks from the early 1900s in my family.
Really?
Yeah.
From when they homesteaded out here?
Yeah.
That's very
pretty
cool.
badass.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That have been in the family that long. And so, yeah, I just think that it's a way to, it's a momentum that's much more than just the animal, too. I think it's a memory, a stamp in time that, like, those moments that I've had hunting, I can almost remember every one of them vividly, because they have such a big impact in my life.
Right. And you see the animal and you think about camp and you think about where you harvested it. And all the stuff goes into it, I think, when you have that kind of memento, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. So I guess to bring it back to kind of what I was saying about like the way that you got into hunting, I think experiencing the pack out and the field dressing and the hardest stuff of hunting to me, not emotionally, but like physically,
Right.
because definitely emotionally killing it is the hardest thing for me, hands down.
Yep. And that was me too. Like I felt like that was going to be the hardest part. So I felt like I was taking the easy way out, even though I was packing it out and helping field dress and, you know, doing all the things except for pulling the trigger. I felt like I'm kind of taking the easy way out because
No,
I don't want to be the person that
right.
that shoots it. But then it was like, you know, if I'm gonna talk the talk and be passionate about it and appreciate these animals and, you know, be all about hunting, like I have to learn how to do this, but I have to learn the right way. Like I need to start practicing, go to the shooting range. I took some courses at Cameo. Have you been to Cameo out
No.
near Grand Junction? Incredible shooting range. It's
Really?
awesome.
Okay.
But they have all kinds of competitions and stuff out there. But yeah, just and you owe that to the animal, like becoming a better shot, right?
Yes.
So that's when I just really
That's part
kinda
of being
dove
a
into
good
it.
human, I think. Yeah.
And my husband was super patient with me, and he was like my guide through it all, and showed me how to do stuff. And because again, like it's just a second nature to him. So I'm like, again, it's like I'm like a child learning how to use this gun and like, you know, learn all the steps and target acquisition and stuff like that. So I just told myself I was going to do it, and that was my next challenge because I love to challenge myself with stuff and just become a better human. And
It builds confidence, it builds resilience, it builds so many things. I think for me, from a child, like taking my first elk or deer at, 11, 12 years old was my first experience of like an emotional roller coaster where you're happy, but then you're super sad.
Yeah.
And then you're happy again, and then you get sad a little bit, and then
it gets hard, and then you got to pack it out.
You see all the blood, and you see the guts, and you see everything that comes along with it. It really puts a value on a life,
right?
To the point where I was like, okay, I understand what life is now,
right?
And I understand how fast it can be taken away, and I really understand how fast it can be taken away with a weapon.
Yeah,
like
and it's
gun.
so interesting too, because like I had been there for multiple hunts, like seen multiple animals taken. And it was emotional to me, but it's so different when it's your own, when you take it yourself.
Yeah. Because you have to make that decision.
Right.
Right? Like that decision is hard.
Yeah.
That is one of the toughest decisions, I think.
But once you're in it and you're committed, like you're in it, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy too. I don't know if you want to pull up the
yeah, let's absolutely pull it up.
So it's a pretty cool story because this was my first. If you scroll down a little bit, little bit more. I believe it's that. Go up just one more. I think it's that middle one right there.
This one?
Yeah. This was my first hunt. It was for mule deer. Points for this unit. So speaking of like difficult hunts, I have been on difficult hunts, difficult pack outs. Again, never my own.
Is that your husband?
That's my husband.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the day we go out.
What's his name? Sorry.
Kyle.
Give him a shout out. Yeah.
That's Kyle
I thought
Melvin,
you were going to maybe
husband.
bring him up with you today.
No, he's actually out in the woods.
Oh, nice. Good for Kyle.
But so it was like -8 degrees and we're going out, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go over a couple more, I'll show you so -8. We're out there, windy, snowy. We're, bopping around in the truck, getting out to hike when we can. But we come across these guys that are out there in ATVs, UTVs, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, we know where some good deer are. Like, we'll take you around tomorrow. So we're like, okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. So the next morning we hop in with them and they put us on a deer and it's like 100 yards.
Nice.
It's like the easiest hunt I'll probably ever have in my entire life.
Absolutely.
But it was such a cool experience and so much fun. And those guys, they're from Leadville. And it was probably like, that's a very blurry picture, but so even at this point, it was probably, 2 degrees. Like it was still really cold, but they're from Leadville, right? All the guys that were with us. and they're like rolling up their sleeves because they're hot.
Right.
I'm like, you're different people from Leadville. I thought I had the picture of all of them, though. There's a picture of, I'll have to pull it up on my phone, but a picture of me standing there with the deer, and then it's...
We'll overlay it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And if you're listening to this, you should definitely go to YouTube at the Mountainside Pod and check this out. These are awesome photos.
Yeah, it's really cool. But, so yeah, they were awesome guys, really helped us out.
Isn't that so cool? Like, that's the other thing, too, about my experience with most hunters, like almost, especially archery hunters, is like I've been out a lot of solo trips, and typically I go with family members, and I don't mind going on those solo trips, but I've met so many amazing people in the middle of the woods that are like just willing to help you, or we end up hunting together or whatever.
And they were even done. Like they were all out there for one person to get his deer. They were done and ready to go, but then like we met them and they're like, oh yeah, we'll hang out with you. We'll take you hunting.
That's awesome.
Drive you around. Yeah, it was so cool. People are, very helpful. It's cool to come across people like that. It's like a family.
Yeah, you understand how hard it is. Like you know what each person goes through to achieve something.
Right. And
that's
you appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's so rad. What a cool experience.
Yeah. So now I'm hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Not to beat this up, but to take it back, I encourage anybody, if you're listening to this and you want to get into hunting, go with a hunter. Don't go hunt.
Yeah.
Don't go get a tag. See what it's all about. Experience all that hardship. And then I think it won't be as daunting when you do actually put the animal down, because you're going to have that emotional roller coaster. You're going to have that adrenaline dump. You're going to have all these other emotions to deal with. And then you're going to have to learn the process of cutting something up, field dressing it, packing it.
Right.
Like that's an undertaking.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you think, oh, this will be easy. Yeah. And then 4 or 5 hours later, you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
and like
about
you said,
to die.
It was a roller coaster. Like you're never comfortable when you're out there. You're either hot or you're cold or it's windy or,
Yeah, it's hard.
But it's all part of it, right? And that's why we love it.
100%, yeah. I guess what was kind of that driving force or the tipping point where you were like, I just have to do this? Was it a passion thing, or was it like a self-achievement type thing, or was it a little bit of both?
I think it was a little bit of both. So I've never told this story before. And I know that people, like, mistakes happen all the time, but so
this room bleeds truth, by the way.
Right? That's what I've noticed, that people like you're like a therapist.
Yeah. I'm far from that. I'm a really fucked up therapist. No, but we have no filters here. Yeah. So there's something about this room though that we
just want to be honest and transparent. But so early on when we first moved to Colorado, and I felt like I just had to do it, right? And again, it wasn't like I wanted to. It was just like I had to. So went out for an antelope hunt, and that's when I realized how inexperienced I was with the gun. I mean, I knew the whole, like, put the safety on, don't point it at people, like, don't look down the barrel, like that kind of stuff, obviously. Mm-hmm. But so I mean, there were antelope that were like 50 yards in front of us, which is...
That's crazy.
Kind of unheard of, right? So they're 50 yards in front of us. And so my husband's telling me which one to shoot. And I couldn't find it in the scope. He's standing behind me, and he told me later that, like, my gun was just, like, going back and forth because I couldn't find it in the scope. They were so close. Yeah. But it was because, like, I had never really practiced that target acquisition. Like, okay, I see it, but when I look through the scope, like, I never really practiced that, or I never did practice that. So it was like I was nervous and anxious, and I didn't want to injure it. And, like, honestly, deep down, I didn't really want to shoot it. So when you have all that going on in your head, so I didn't shoot, didn't go after any of them. But at the same time, I kind of felt like an idiot. I was like, there's an antelope 50 yards in front of me, and I can't even see it through the scope, right? Do I really want to do this? So we decided to walk back to the truck, but I wanted to unload the gun. So, and it's the kind of gun where you have to take it off of safety to unload it. Or you have to put it like in the middle. There's like a safety, a fire, and there's like the middle. You have to put it in the middle, which is so stupid. What's the point of safety, right?
Yeah, that is wild.
So I put it in what I thought was the middle, but apparently it was on fire. Went to unload it, but my finger pulled the trigger.
Oh, shit.
And thankfully, I knew enough to not have it pointed at anybody. But it still, it scared the fuck out of me, really. Like, it just...
Oh, and this is probably a high-powered rifle, too, right?
Oh, yeah. It was like a 270.
Holy shit.
So my heart just sank. Even telling this story, I'm just like, you feel so stupid, right? I mean, nobody was injured. They were over here, like, shot over here. But it was just... I didn't even want the gun at that point. I was just like, here.
Oh, that would
like,
ruin it
take
for
this
me.
gun, you know, because, it was like I felt even more like a child. I'm a grown adult. And again, like nothing happened, but it was just that big of a mistake that it makes you think like it's that fast, right? For something really bad to happen.
It is. Yeah, I think this is a great point why children should be around guns. They should know how to disarm one properly. They should
100%.
know gun safety at least,
Right.
even if you don't believe in guns or guns in the home, because at some point in their life, they are going to experience it. And like, if I didn't have my grandfathers and my uncles, like I didn't grow up with a dad, which was kind of crazy, and a single mom, but thank God I had like grandfathers and uncles and these role models of men that were just these badass hunters and still are to this day.
That's cool.
If they're able to. And really taught me those sort of like core values of how to hunt, how to be ethical.
Right,
And it was super important to them to be ethical. And gun safety was like a huge one.
Right.
But I think part of that responsibility that I got as a kid is I was given my first 22. I think I was 8 years old.
That's awesome.
And it was like a Christmas gift or
That's so
whatever.
cool.
It was a birthday gift or I can't remember exactly. But I was given my first rifle. And then I had my first high power at like 12 years old.
Yeah.
But it was my responsibility. And if I fucked up with it, I was going to have to take the wrath from all of those guys. So
Right,
like having mentors,
Yeah.
I think kind of like that is important. So like I urge people, even if you're anti-gun or don't believe guns should be in a home or guns should be anywhere, you should at least send your kid. Like there's some awesome spots around here, like Bristol Cone Shooting. I mean, shout out to Brian and why am I drawing a blank right now? Oh my God, I'm so bad. Shout out to Brian and his wife. Oh my God, this is so horrible. They're friends of mine too. I haven't seen them in a while. But anyways, they own Bristol Cone Shooting and they do a kids gun class.
Yeah, that's cool.
Where they shoot guns.
That's really cool.
They learn how to disarm them. They know all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's, you never know when you're like 6-year-old might be at a friend's house and somebody doesn't have a secure gun or something like that, right? Like,
And
it's
it builds
important.
confidence too in the kids.
Yeah. Because I think the worst thing, like what you experience, is being unconfident around a gun and being scared of it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's...
And my parents were never anti-gun. Like I said, they just didn't have them. Now they do because they're...
Yeah, that was no knock on
all
your
about it.
parents
Oh,
either.
yeah, no,
right?
I didn't think
they're
that, but-
intimidating. They still intimidate me because I don't use them that often.
Which they should be intimidating to a certain point. Like you want to be comfortable
you gotta
with
be
them.
respectful of
But
it.
yeah. But after that, like I didn't touch a gun for probably a year and a half. I was just like, I don't want anything to do with it. That's when I'm going to be the pack animal. Like I'll go do all the hard stuff. I don't want to touch the gun. You know?
that makes total sense though.
So then that's where I, just being the kind of person that I am, like always wanted to challenge myself and do hard things and I know that I can do stuff, right? Like you just have to set your mind to it. It's like I shouldn't be scared of this because I believe in it. And just because I screwed up that one time, which it could have been worse, and thank God it wasn't, but I need to learn from that and grow from that and just work harder to get better. Like, so that's when I started doing the classes and going to the range more. And again, my husband was very patient with me because he knew at that point that I was like, I don't want to touch guns. So it was kind of like this process to get back to it. So that hunt, like it meant even more to me because of what I had gone through emotionally at that point,
That's so rad. Thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people don't share those embarrassing moments. Like I've had them hunting and I leave everything on the table here where I've had bad shots on animals as much as I pride myself on being ethical or whatever. And one of them was my own fault like the year that I switched, my eyesight, now that I'm getting older, has gone a little bit. So like when you shoot a bow, you don't shoot archery, do you?
I don't.
No.
I mean, I've shot a couple times, but
Okay.
I don't.
But you understand like some of it. But so sight wise, you're looking through a peep sight, which
Right.
is tiny, that's embedded in your string. And then you have to line that up with another circle that has pins to get your sight picture up, and then line that up with your target or animal or whatever, right? The animal's vitals. So I used to shoot a fixed pin sight, which is multiple pins in your view, right? So it's like 4 or 5 pins. But then your eye has to do all these different focus things, because first you're focused on the peep, then you're focused on the sight picture.
Yeah.
Then you might be focused on a little level bubble or something if you're shooting a
there's a
compound,
lot.
and then you have to focus on the target, right? So there's a lot that happens like super fast, but my eyes just don't adjust as fast
Right.
anymore. So like having those multiple pins out there, the fixed pin, it makes it blurry. And then I have trouble seeing through it because my eye's trying to focus on those. So I went to a single pin, which is now another process when you're hunting animals, because you have to adjust your sight to the correct yardage.
Right.
So I was going through the process, and you will lose your freaking mind when an elk steps in front of you, or a big muley or something like that.
Especially that
right?
close for archery.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot that's going on. There's calling, there's timing, when do I draw? And I just thought in the back of my mind that I set my sight to what I thought it was ranged at, and it wasn't set properly. And I hit low, and I looked for an elk for the better part of 2 days. And that's also happened.
Was there a blood trail?
Not enough.
There wasn't.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it lived, or I would have found it, but who
Yeah.
knows,
Yeah.
you know? But that is the worst feeling in the world. And if there's an archery hunter that hasn't experienced that, I think that they're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Because
even
shit can
rifle,
go
too.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
that's gonna
kind of part of the
happen.
game,
Yep.
right?
And that's what I told myself too. It's like, yeah, I don't want to injure the animal. Like I said, that's my biggest fear. But it's like, at some point, it might happen, and I can't, beat myself up over it. But that goes back to, but I do need to practice and train and get better at my skill, because I owe that to the animal to not try to injure it.
That's the only reason that I train and shoot as much as I do. I mean, I do it for the joy too. I get a lot out of archery, and my shot mantra, I think it's a form of meditation, and it gives me an excuse to be outside. And
Yeah.
especially where I go up at American Bowman, it's like a real life, well, not real life,
like a
because the
3D?
animals move. It is a 3D course.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's 40 targets. If you ever want to go up there and shoot, I'd
Yeah,
love to
that'd
take
be fun.
you. It's in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's super quiet. Like, you might hear a jet go by or something, but there's no like real highway noise or anything. It's the closest thing that you can get to shooting foam compared to hunting.
Right,
and the shots are, so if you do all 40 targets, it's about 4 miles.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Probably
targets.
2,000 feet in elevation. So you're shooting off of cliffs, through trees.
That's cool.
The guys that set up the course up there are assholes, and because
In the best of ways, though,
yeah,
right?
yeah, in the best of ways, they're true bow hunters. So there's some shots where you got to take them on your knees, or like
that's cool.
shoot through the gap of a tree like this, which is
See, we need more
Real life.
ranges like that
Yes.
for rifle. That's kind of what Cameo's like a little bit. It's
Okay.
a little bit more real life scenarios. Like you got to set up on a rock or on your pack, or
right.
it's
Because
not
if you're
like
just
on a
shooting on
stand.
polished concrete on
Right.
flat ground all the time, like you don't know what it's like with your bow to shoot way uphill
Yeah.
or way downhill, or
Yeah.
what it's going to do. And I think that's super important. And then just all the different animals too, like the species and of foam that they have up there is so rad. They've kept it really like Western hunt. So
That's
like
cool.
what you would hunt in Colorado. There might be one dinosaur for a kid or something like that.
I was
but-
going to say, because the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs has a 3D range. But
That's
they
right.
have like monsters, and I don't
Okay.
even know what all is there, but
Yeah, it kind of turns me off when it's like you're shooting at like a fucking
zombie.
or yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here? You know,
Right.
like I'm very traditional, I guess, when it comes to that sort of aspect. And the
Yeah.
cool thing about American Bowman is a lot of those other archery ranges, it's the same every time you go. They might change the target, but it's the same course. These guys change it twice a year.
Oh,
Then it's
that's
only
cool.
open one side, and then sometimes they'll add something. Like they're getting into moving targets now too, which is kind of a 2-person process. But they have this
That's
bear
cool.
up there now that's on like this pulley system, So you have 2 targets that you can shoot at, but it moves through the trees. It's really cool. Yeah.
I'll have to check that
It's
out.
the best place in the world. It's my Disney. Oh yeah, there's the cliff shot.
That's really cool.
That actually might be. Oh, that's not me and my son. That's Scott and his son.
So I've
that
shot
might
a
have been the day we
bow
went
probably like 3 or 4 times, but
Oh, this is the best place to learn. It's so
that
much
would
fun.
be cool. But what's weird is, so I'm right-handed, very much right-handed.
Okay.
Can't do really shit with my left hand, but
Are you
I'm
left
left
eye
eye dominant.
dominant?
Yes. So it's a pain in the butt. And they told me they
That's
were
going to
like,
be hard with archery.
Yeah. They told me, they said, since you've never shot a bow before, shoot left-handed. I was
Right.
like, really? So, I mean, since I don't have that like muscle memory yet, they told me to shoot left-handed so I can like
You can build it.
focus
You
with
just
my
need a
left
good
eye.
archery coach. Like I know some stellar archery coaches if you ever wanted to get into
Yeah.
it. Like some of the best in the world live right here in Colorado.
Yeah.
Like Tom Klum down at Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear. He's the owner, operator of it.
Where's that? At? Is that in
It's
Denver?
just it's like Kipling and I-70 pretty
Okay.
much. It's south of 70 on Kipling.
Okay.
I think it's Kipling. Look that up for me, Tyler, just so I'm getting that right. Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear.
Because there's a couple schools in the Springs too.
Okay. I'm sure there's some good
like
archers out there.
Pellegrino. Have you heard of Bill?
Okay.
I think it's Bill Pellegrino Archery School
why do
or
I know
School of
that
the
name?
Rockies.
Okay. Like Tom's like Olympic level, like coaching. Like
That's cool.
I was taught from my uncles as a young man. So I had all these habits that I had picked up and they weren't wrong. It's just I wanted to improve my shooting, and Tom has got me so improved that I can't shoot at the same spot continuously or I'll ruin arrows. I'll Robin Hood them.
Oh, that's cool.
So like he's got me that accurate. And then
Wow.
his whole sort of process is it's a trigger press, and I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, Tom. But it's more of like I'm not pulling a trigger. Like there is no like depression of a trigger. So it's all built off of back tension and as you release. So it's a surprise release. So you there's no human, well, I shouldn't say that. There's less chances for human error in you pulling a trigger and flinching
Right.
and when a big bull elk comes screaming in at you or something, or you've bugled in something like that, or cows are running through the tree, like you want the least amount. Your adrenaline's at like an 11,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or maybe you've hiked up to the top of the hill, and that's one thing I love about American bowmen is some of those targets you come up to, you're out of breath, right? Like,
Right. Your heart's already
and I
beating
try to
harder
shoot
than-
as fast as
Yeah.
I can just to get through the course and mimic that. So there's a lot of different variables that you don't run into at the archery range, but to minimalize that in the backcountry, I think is so key because you might not have, if you're 6 days in, like something that I struggle with, I may not have shot my bow in 8 days.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I
How
might
often
not
do
have
you shoot
ever
it? Do you shoot
thrown
every
an
day?
arrow. I shoot pretty much I at least shoot 3 times a week, minimum.
Yeah. That's
Minimum.
good.
Sometimes in here, but that's why there's a target out there and my bow's in here. It's
Hey,
like
you gotta
if
do
I
it,
got
you
to
gotta do
kill, like sometimes I'll be on a Zoom call or some shit, with a sponsor, and I'm back here flinging arrows.
So if we know
while-
your camera's off, you know what you're doing.
100%, yeah. And I'm muted, right? They're not hearing anything go off. I probably shouldn't say that because, and I'm very safe about it. Like I make sure that there's nobody on the other side of the wall, or there's no errors that could
Right,
happen,
right.
right? Like I'm very careful. And it's also like, what is this, 10, 15 feet maybe to wall to wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I think you're fine.
But it's still it's that muscle memory of getting that
Right.
shot sequence down and kind of going through the mantra. So even if it's that, and actually Tom set me up when I travel, because I travel so much, I'm not taking my bow. I do this every day. I have actually an arrow puller with some 550 cord, and then I tied a D loop on it exactly for my draw length. So I'm just doing my shot
that,
sequence.
Because
with
that's my
that.
thing. Like if I'm gonna shoot a bull, like that's a lot of, what's the poundage of?
You'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of it is set up. There's some fucking nerds out there, so do not listen to me. Like if you want archery nerdery and you want to talk about arrow weight and all that sort of stuff, I am not trying to play in that space. Like I get bashed for it all the time.
Oh,
So go listen to like Aaron Schneider
yeah.
from Cafaro. Well, not with Cafaro
No.
anymore. Born Primitive. incredible backcountry bow hunter. There's guys that break it down like John Dudley or Cameron Haynes or like this is their life, right? Like is it Dan from Elk Shape?
Oh yeah.
It's another one.
Yep.
Those guys are archery fanatics and that's who you need to learn from. Or go into one of the incredible pro shops, not a Cabela's. There's no knock on them or anything. Go into an actual archery pro shop where there's guys that know what they're doing that can set you up for hunting. But yeah, I would think if you could pull, 50 pounds, a lot of it's set up on arrow weight and that sort of stuff too, for what you get for penetration, broadhead size, fixed blade versus mechanical. Like there's many fucking, but like
I think I still need to hone in on my rifle skills first.
Yeah. Have somebody, there's plenty of people that can help you out in that space and just take their advice. There's fucking books that are written on it. I mean, there's so many different things. But like Colorado specifically, like having the clubs is anybody that works at Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear is an absolute expert. And like Tom is Olympic level, but then they're not the only shop in town. You have Bear Creek, amazing people. We've had Ed Mayorga on, former employee there. We've had him on the podcast. The guys at No Limits. I don't know if you know any of those guys like Bo and Phil Mendoza. He's the guy that put on was it the Hunt Expo or?
The one in Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to that?
I did not this year. I went last year.
Yeah, I didn't go this year. Unfortunately, I was out of town. But just great people and great archery shops. Great. I mean, they're all good.
Yeah.
They're all good. And you're going to get set up correctly, but there's some like stellar elite coaching that you can get right here in the state. So you're in the perfect spot.
Another thing to get into. I think it would be so exciting to hunt during
even
the rut.
If you don't hunt with
crazy.
the bow, just shooting it and being able to go to American Bowman, like all the guys up there give me shit because I enjoy going to American Bowman more than I enjoy hunting. Because after I shoot foam, I don't have to pack anything out. I get to get in my truck.
That's the fun part there,
right? And there's some sort of gratification. I don't like killing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I like killing foam.
Sense. Yeah.
I like killing 12 rings on foam. That's what I like killing. So yeah, I love going up there. It's like playing golf or something. It's addictive for me. I'm always trying to beat my own best shot record. And then just if you go with people, now there's a competition thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to shoot different spots.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go. Let's definitely do it.
Yeah, we should do it. That'd be
I'll
fun.
take you up there.
Sounds good.
It's a rad spot. But yeah, I think archery is great even if you're not hunting. I know a ton of archers that just shoot on the competition level that are aspiring guys that want to shoot at Vegas or
what's interesting
whatever.
too is I find a lot of and you probably do the same. Like I find a lot of females like archery. It seems
there's
like
a
a
lot.
lot of women that are into archery.
Yeah,
Maybe
we've had
not
quite a
necessarily
few.
hunting, but
we had Katie Knight. She's a huge fitness influencer. She shoots a bow.
She just went for her first hunt too, right?
Yeah,
With Cam Haynes?
She's awesome. She lives right here in Boulder. We've had her on the
that's
podcast. Cool. Katie's super cool. I've known her for a few years, and she just recently started hunting.
That's cool.
We've had Sarah Gamache. Yeah. We did a whole episode with her. We filmed on the mountainside is like where I actually go out and do something with a guest. We filmed one with her up at American Bowman. So that'll show you what it's like. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, that's really
She
cool.
outshot me that day.
Did she
You know
really?
what I mean? Yeah. And I think women are honestly probably better at it because you guys pay attention, or women in general, and now I'm generalizing women. So here we
let's
go.
hear it. What do we pay attention to?
Detail. Much more
Yeah.
than men do. I think men get distracted easier. I think men have a tendency to have ADHD. I mean, let's be blatantly honest, right? Like men are pretty Neanderthal when it comes down to like precision stuff. I think women are much more tuned into that, to the point like in the industries that I've worked in, it's like if I need something organized, my first thing is to go to a woman because she's going to pay attention to the detail or the way I want it organized, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
I'll take
generalizing
that.
women
We're
now.
very
but
organized, focused, precise people.
yeah. Maybe the memory's a little bit more sharp, right? There's less distractions. For me anyways, right?
That's
but
funny.
but yeah, I think that they can be super successful if they're driven,
Yeah.
like you are,
Yeah.
to hunting or whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
you
just
gotta
another
set your
skill.
mind to it. Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
do. Like as much as you have in fitness and in shooting a rifle and all that sort of stuff, it's the same principle applies.
Right.
Like I am much more proficient with my bow than I am with my handgun. Like yardage, like if you put me at 10 feet with my bow, I'll bet you I could shoot better with my bow.
Do you practice
if you
with
put
your
me at
handgun
6,
much?
never.
You don't.
That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? It's what you put your time into.
Right.
So that is like kind of a bucket list thing for me. Like all the badasses that I have in here from a tactical standpoint, like former Green Berets and SEALs and
Right.
some of these guys that have built businesses on tactical precision, which I think is another awesome skill to have. And it seems like super fun to me too. Like
There's only so much that we can do, though, right?
that's the problem, right? Like
That's
you
where
got to pick your
yeah.
hobbies. That's why I
Yep.
don't golf. That's why I
Yeah.
don't, skateboard like I used to.
Right.
I don't roll jiu-jitsu anymore because I had last year I had to pass on 2 elk because I had a shoulder injury and I wasn't confident enough to take a shot from that far because I couldn't hold my bow.
Oh man. Yeah,
steady
jiu-jitsu's
enough.
got to go.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I guess I'm just down to elk hunting now.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm focused on right now is getting 100% through September, and then maybe after September I'll go back. But it's like, as much as I love that, like that's one of my favorite things to do is to go get on a mat and try to get choked or choke somebody. It's
Well, hopefully you can get back to that.
yeah, archery is way more important to me.
Yeah.
So
Like we said, it's a lifestyle. You
it
know?
really is. Yeah, and even to like my workouts and stuff, I base my workouts around what I'm going to do when I'm elk hunting.
Right.
Or I have a workout for field dressing.
Do you?
Yeah, especially for like going up to cut up those bison with stone. That's where I figured it out the last time. I was like, fuck, I thought my back was in shape.
Yeah, but
It's
leaning over
not.
for that long.
And
yeah,
as
that's
heavy as
true.
those things are, it's like, just a lower back, like workout with kettlebells. And it's kind of shit that I invented myself. I don't know if they're actual like.
Doing like
lifts.
monkey pounders or.
Yeah, monkey pounders is big, the pass through the legs.
Yeah.
But like doing it continuous with heavy weight for like 100 reps, right? So like you really, because when you're cutting up meat, like sometimes you can't stop. Like when you're pulling on that back strap and having to cut and you're bent over or whatever, so doing that for like a 2 or 3 minute period, as long as it would take you to cut a back strap out of an elk, right? Is kind of my philosophy. And then you can stand up and stretch for a minute.
Yeah.
And just doing that continuously.
workout.
And then, farmers carries for packing, loading up a backpack and actually rucking with the backpack that you hunt with.
Do you ever do
So
Mountain Tough? You ever done their workouts?
I've seen their workouts. I
they're
haven't.
incredible.
Yeah.
They're
no,
so
very
good.
similar. There's also, we've had on the podcast that I should connect you guys, is Zach Patrone. Are you familiar with him?
Rocky Mountain Strength.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Zach's fucking savage.
Yeah.
And his whole gym, he has a whole program built around backcountry hunting.
Yes, and I tell him all the time because he's in Denver and I'm in Colorado Springs. I'm like, if you ever come down to Colorado Springs, like open a gym down there, I'll be there. But
Rad.
it's just too far to.
You guys should
to
partner
go
up
there.
together or
Yeah,
something.
that'd be awesome. But yeah, I love his whole.
He's such a
concept.
good
It's
dude
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
I need to reach out to him. I've been really bad, but
He's been
I
on
need
your
to
show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach's awesome. And I think he's still training, like he trains Derek Wolf and
Yeah.
stuff and kind of for the hunting, really.
Right,
I mean,
right.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
super knowledgeable.
His programming looks awesome, and he does. I think he does archery on Saturdays, and
Yeah,
they
you
do
can shoot-
runs and like all kinds of stuff. So.
That's honestly why I like working out at home in my gym, because I will have my bow and I'll do some reps, and then in between reps, I'm shooting.
like getting your heart
into
rate
the
up
garage,
and shooting. Yeah.
And so
Smart.
that's honestly where I get in most of my shot sequences.
Yeah. And that's
is in between reps, and it's a good rest. You're not
Yeah.
just standing there looking at your phone, scrolling, right? Like you're not going to get distracted. I see so many people in the gym. This is like a fucking pet peeve of mine, and I'm going to go off here for a minute.
I think you should. I know what you're gonna say.
They're literally sitting on a bench in the gym, scrolling on
Yes,
Instagram,
while people
or
are waiting
whatever.
for the bench.
Yes.
Yeah, at the
and
big
I understand
gyms,
you need
anyway.
rest and recovery between your sets and stuff, but like I think people lose track of time. I know that I personally lose track of time.
Yeah.
If I go down that rabbit hole and start watching killer whale videos and girls shake their asses, I'm going to get distracted,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, and then guess what? Your algorithm
You're 5
starts
minutes later,
feeding
yeah.
it. Yeah.
It goes back to people can't be bored. You know, you're sitting there
Yeah.
waiting in between reps. It's like, oh, I'm bored. I'm going to get my phone out.
Absolutely.
And then 10 minutes later, oh, I guess I'll do my next set.
Yeah. Yeah. Just stop it, man. Just fucking shelf your phone.
Right.
Like, I purposely, if I'm going to the gym that I go to, they have these little cubbies. They're not lockers like some mountain community. Nobody's going to steal your shit. Somebody's accidentally taken my shaker bottle because we had the same exact one, right? I was
They probably brought it back.
wait a minute. This is, I didn't drink vanilla protein. Who drinks vanilla protein? Come on, bro.
Right, yeah.
Get some
That's so
fucking
true. You
chocolate
got
up
chocolate,
in that bitch. Yeah.
It's not worth it if it's not chocolate.
But yeah, that's the only thing I've had happen. So I do this at home too. I typically just shelf my phone because I want to be present when I'm at home with my kids. It's like,
that's good.
Goes on the shelf. I don't need to look at it. That do not disturb thing that Apple came up with a few years ago is huge.
Yeah.
That goes on at 9:30. I mean,
smart.
people
That's
can
good.
still ring through if it's an emergency, that if you choose for them to, you know, so.
I know, and I'm bad about it too. And plus, like with my job, I have to be available and have my phone on me all the time.
That's the worst now,
But the gym is like, or my workouts or runs, like that's the only time that I'm like, this is my time. To not listen to all the dings of the phone and the email and all this stuff. It's like my time to be selfish, to get a workout in, and just be not distracted by all the stuff, right?
Yes. That's the biggest thing for me with hunting, I think. During archery season, I'd live for September.
Yeah.
And I don't care what's going on. I think I came out of the woods for one thing, and one thing only is I had a chance to go to a bare knuckle boxing match, and I was like, this is pretty,
you have to do that.
this is pretty special. And I was going with some badasses too. Shout out to Parker's platoon. So it was in the name of charity as well. So I felt like obligated, to leave elk camp.
Right.
Like I was like, okay, I've been invited to this thing. Like, this is worth it. These people have sacrificed much more for our country than I ever have. So it's like I felt obligated at that point. But other than that,
And then you went back.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Do not call me.
Exactly.
I
that's
don't
what I tell my
expect to
job.
get a
I'm
hold
like,
of me.
look.
There's no podcast coming out unless we pre-recorded some and
Right.
Tyler's putting them out. Like, it's not fucking happening. Like,
Well, that's what I tell my work, because like a lot of people, when they go out of town, they still have their phone on them. I'm like, look, you're not going to hear from me or see me or be able to get in touch with me for 6 days.
that's my biggest fear with this Starlink shit, man. It's like, is how badass it is to have super high speed internet in the backcountry. It's amazing, right?
See, I don't want to have that.
But
I
it's
mean, we
like-
do have an inReach, because of course my mom was like, "Are you gonna text me? Let me know you're okay every night." But
But even
otherwise, it's like.
But even my family knows, like, hey, I might not text you for 12 hours. Don't send out the cavalry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't heard
Right.
from me in 24 hours,
Yeah, my mom
do
will
it.
like send in a helicopter.
Right.
Like, I love you, Mom. I appreciate that she keeps up with me.
well, the
but-
coolest thing, like, Garmin is not a sponsor, but I am a huge advocate for their products.
Yeah,
I
heck yeah.
wear their watches. I have an inReach. The coolest thing about that is, I don't know if you've used the website for Garmin.
the Connect or EarthMate.
Yeah, I think it's
couple different ones,
EarthMate, right?
Yeah,
Might be EarthMate.
where you can text from your phone now through your inReach.
Oh yeah, no, I
Speaking
do
of
that
texting.
all the time.
Yeah.
But what it does is if your inReach is set up properly, it'll track waypoints where you've been. So your loved ones can log in online and see where you're at and know that you're moving.
Interesting.
So like, even if they didn't hear from you, they
Right.
can see that, oh, he's
'Cause
alive.
I thought that if you just send him a message,
He's alive,
yeah.
or there's a bear walking off of it.
Yeah.
One of the two.
or he's eaten by a bear and
Right.
it's in the bear's stomach.
Yeah. No shit. That would be crazy. Yeah.
But that's
going
the thing,
back to
too,
Donnie and that bison thing, I was like, Donnie said, what did he say in the text message? I probably shouldn't even be sharing this, but he was like, yeah, there
Safe
was,
space.
he was like, fuck, man. He's like, I thought at one point I could take down a brown bear with, primitive stuff. He's like, I don't fucking know now after
Yeah.
seeing that video. And I was like, bro, could you imagine getting eaten alive by one of those things? Like, they would literally hold you down and peel you
Yeah, I
like a
couldn't imagine
banana.
that.
You know
That'd
what I
be the
mean?
worst.
Like that scene from The Revenant.
Yeah.
Pull that
I
up,
couldn't
Tyler.
imagine.
That's gnarly. That's got to be like the most realistic thing to what it is. The Revenant with DiCaprio.
And then he ends up like wearing the bear.
Oh, so crazy. He gets attacked. Put in bear attack.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, it's wild.
There's a little bit of a delay here.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll let it load up.
I wouldn't want that to be my only protection. The bear's coming
so
after me.
brutal.
Do you want sound on?
Go back.
It is. It's just lagging.
Yeah, I gotta hardwire that. This is such a badass movie.
He's such a good actor.
What's crazy about this movie is I feel like it's a small depiction of how it really was in the Wild West. I think everybody has this fantasy version of it, and Hollywood did for a really long time. And this shows kind of the ruthlessness of probably what it was really like. Yeah, and these guys didn't really have a choice. Like, this was their chosen profession.
Yeah, they just...
our internet
They were
sucks
just
so
surviving.
bad. We need Starlink. We need a Starlink sponsor.
I just couldn't imagine that.
Oh my God. Back to nature's metal.
Right?
This is probably not what you expected we were going to do.
I love it. I think this is awesome.
God, who directed this movie? Look that up.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Oh, and it just keeps going. That's like just the beginning of that scene. It's like fucking 10 minutes long or something.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
It's such a good movie.
I'm waiting for it to pop up.
Yeah. Let us know once it does.
I think that... So one of my...
Gonzalez?
Or Gonzalez? Oh, okay. I see. Man, what a great job they did with that.
Yeah.
Have you watched American Primeval yet? Have you seen any of that on Netflix?
I don't think so.
I haven't seen it yet either.
It's crazy.
Is it? You like it, Tyler? Yeah?
So you haven't watched it?
It's pretty metal.
No, we've been talking to some of the actors. Some of the native actors are potentially coming up. I shouldn't even say it because they probably won't be able to.
No, they will. They'll do it.
But I'm trying to get a couple of those
yeah.
guys
No,
on the
I've never seen that.
podcast. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's supposed to be really good. Lone Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is his name? I'm blanking on all sorts of names today. And it's Jacqueline and Brian that own Bristol Clone. Shout out to them.
Oh, yeah.
Jacqueline's
I wondered
amazing.
if that came back to you.
I mean, gun store owner that advocates for suicide awareness and is on like the suicide board, and they're a safe haven. Like, if you're feeling like you're having suicidal thoughts here in Denver, you can bring your guns and they'll store them for you as long as you need them. Like, super cool. Super cool that they do that as a business. Yeah. Heavily involved with law enforcement locally and stuff like that. So they're checking
so
all
they
the
sell
boxes.
guns too?
Yes. Yeah, they do sales.
So that's interesting.
And it's like a premier, like elite shooting range too. Like, they have the best indoor shooting range in Denver by far.
Yeah.
Like targets at 45. And they have
That's cool.
they do all kinds of classes down. They have an amazing staff of like former military guys where they'll do like in-home classes and stuff. Like, they'll set up a house scenario and you have to shoot within the house. So you know like where your kid's bedroom's at, like these different scenarios, right? And
Y'all have all kinds of cool
just
stuff up
all
here.
kinds of training.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to go take advantage of that is what I'm
Right.
getting at with like the handguns. Like,
I wonder how these new bills that are going to go into effect are going to affect them.
fuck, it's so stupid, man.
I know. Because even just putting the ammunition behind glass, like, that's going to be a lot for these businesses to do.
They're just not going to be able to do it.
Right.
Like, the mom and
How are
pops
they
are not
gonna
going to
have
be
the
able
money
to
to
do
do
it.
it? Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Like your Cabela's and Shills and those sort of businesses, I think, will survive because they'll have to adapt, right? They have so much money invested already that there is no way out for them, right? Like, rather than getting bought by another corporation or another investment banker, but like,
Yeah.
it's
I
really
don't know how they're
disheartening
gonna
for like the
afford it.
Bristol cones and Salida gun shops and like
Yeah.
those. I feel bad for them, man. That's fucking bullshit is what it is.
And then the the other bill that you're going to have to do all these courses and stuff through CPW for the detachable magazine weapons. Like that's going to be, and that's going to strain CPW.
Enlighten me
too.
on that a little bit, because I've been playing around the edges because I've been so busy, and it's all coming up so fast.
Right.
And I've kind of made a pact here where I'm going to have to get involved, but I've tried to only, like, politics wise, the thing that I've only tried to be a voice for really is wildlife biology.
Yeah.
Biology,
Oh, yeah, we
but
weren't
this
supposed
like
to get into politics.
no, but this crosses over into it, and I think
Right, 'cause
that
it
you
is
can't
gonna
be silent,
affect,
right?
yeah.
And I
Well,
just wish that I just feel like this is more of a destruction of culture and people than it is about wildlife or gun ownership or and it's also a money grab for large businesses. Right? Because they're the only ones that can sustain the business. So guess what? The only place where you can buy that shit is going to be at their businesses because it's going to close all the mom and pop spots. And just like to compare it to something like, I'm kind of anti-weed. Like, not for the benefits that it gives you. It doesn't mean that I won't smoke a joint with you right now or a blunt, but like, I'm anti-weed being, I guess I'm anti-business when it comes to weed. Like, there should be some stipulations. I know that there are, that it can only be certain, within a certain radius of a school and all this sort of stuff, right? Like, those are
Church,
great.
that kind of thing.
But what they didn't take into account is like all the amazing spots that I grew up here in Colorado that used to be ice cream shops or gift shops or whatever that you would pass in Dumont or, you know, wherever, Empire. Well, guess what? Guess what makes the money?
Yep.
Now it's
taking
all
over.
those, right?
Yep.
And the tourists are coming up,
Yep.
which is great. But there should have been some sort of regulation on. It basically drove those businesses into the ground that have been there for years, that were kind of my culture that I remember as a kid. Like, it's disheartening when you're in a small mountain town and you're looking for like a good spot to feed your kids or get them ice cream or something like that. And all those spots are gone, and now they're dispensaries.
And that
It's
was
like,
their livelihood. The people
I guess
that
we'll
own
go
these
get a chocolate
stores.
bar.
Yeah.
Let's have a real good time. But
Yeah,
so
I
I
know.
feel like
So
that's
I-
what's going on with the
Yep.
gun thing a little
Right.
bit.
So with the and I don't know exact specifics, but with this first bill, the detachable magazine, people that want to go purchase a gun with a detachable magazine, which is a lot of guns out there, they're going to have to take a special course and get a permit to purchase that gun.
What if you already own it?
That I don't know. I assume your
Because
grandfather.
every gun that I own has a detachable magazine, I think.
Yeah. So I assume. I mean, I don't. Are you going to have to register your gun if it's detachable magazine?
Or are you going to have
I
to
don't
go
know.
get that certification? Is it like a
I don't
grandfather?
know. I think
Man.
you're grandfathered in if you already have it, but if you go to purchase one, then you have to do this. But the course is through CPW, so they're figuring out who they're going to have to hire people to teach this
Oh
course.
my God. Like, they need another thing on their plate.
I know. Yeah.
It's,
so
I mean, this is my argument about them combining wildlife
Parks.
with parks.
Wildlife,
It's like
yeah.
now they have all these other responsibilities. Now they're playing in all these different things. It's like, if you're in the archery business, you stick to the archery business.
Mm-hmm.
You don't start selling guns, right? Because that's not your
right.
wheelhouse, right? Like,
they should have left them separate. Yeah.
it's so much more to manage. It's so much more
And
to
it's
manage.
just gonna. Yeah. I don't know what budget this is going to come out of, but it's going to take a chunk of their budget to do these courses. Plus, I mean, people are going to have to pay to take the course. So not only are they paying for the
right.
gun, there you
And
go.
hunting and fishing pays for a lot of that management. So really, you're taking away from wildlife.
Right.
That's crazy.
Which
That's
is
insane.
already having a lot taken out of for,
right.
the wolf reintroduction and all that stuff. Oh, it does say they'd be grandfathered in,
Okay. So
which is weird
why
too.
does that?
So,
Why is Google telling us how to vote on it?
so it's already been passed.
Oh shit!
Yeah, this has already been passed, and that's what I don't know is exactly when it goes into effect.
Are you kidding me?
But I think it's
God, I'm
might
so
be
bad.
this fall.
Dan's gonna roast me for this one. That's a major loss for the gun industry and
Yeah.
Colorado in general. Really, man. It's like I mean, you look at what happened this last weekend, and this happened in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Right?
wild. Yeah.
100 illegal immigrants with criminal records
At an underground club.
at an underground nightclub were arrested. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that's a bad thing.
Right.
But also, it's a scary thing to me, to the point, like, I know a ton of people in local law enforcement at a high level. I know some U.S. Marshals around. And I talk to them, and they're like, it's for real. Like, it's crazy. And then...
well, that's the thing, too. Like, people are still going to do illegal things. They're still going to get guns illegally, but it's hurting law-abiding citizens that just are responsible gun owners, you know? So we're going to get to the point where we can't defend ourselves. But if somebody wants to kill somebody, they're going to do it. Just like New Orleans with a truck, you know? Are you going to start banning trucks?
Yeah, it's that old cliche saying, like, guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? Like,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
so true. It's like, that kind of goes back to full circle, like, having your kids to know how to disarm a gun or be around it or be around it safely is a huge thing, right? Like, so many people are accidentally killed with guns too, right? Like,
yeah, it's being comfortable, but like you said, still respecting it.
and what's wild is Jeremiah Wilbur, who we just had in, I think it was 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago, something like that. Former Green Beret, badass dude, multiple deployments. Backcountry hunter, outfitter, you know, works as a guide and is a cowboy, but his passion right now is in stopping human trafficking. He has a nonprofit that helps combat that, and especially with indigenous women. But then they also started another branch off of that. So when they do pull these women out of the situation that they're in, then there's no race, they help as many people as they can. Doesn't matter color, skin, background, rich, poor, whatever, right? They're helping whoever they can. But with domestic violence, like 1 in 3 women in their lifetime will experience domestic violence in one form or another, right? And I have 2 daughters.
Wow.
You know, so
I
like
didn't
the
realize it
chances
was that
are
high. That's
pretty
crazy.
good, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. And I know this firsthand because I've experienced it in my house, you know, like growing up and stuff like that. So this hits close to home with like growing up with a single mom and multiple times for multiple different men. Like, so it's not even, your chances are really good. Like something like that's going to happen. Well, the other thing is most rapes happen violently with some sort of weapon as an influence. And I think that that's like one, I want to say, he dropped the statistics on there, but it's a crazy amount. It's like 90%.
Wow.
Right? And most gun encounters, like if you mix the two, happen within 3 feet and 3 seconds. So like being underprepared, like even if you have a gun, right? Which is a great thing to carry around. And I'm not like knocking that, but like knowing how to use it, knowing how to draw it in time,
That quick,
being fast, being proficient, knowing how to draw if you're in a vulnerable position, right? Like it all comes down to so many different variables.
Right.
If it's 3 feet and 3 seconds, and we've had multiple people tell us that, like Graham Dune, and that's an FBI statistic, I think, or something like that. It's like most gun violence happens within 3 feet and 3 seconds of time.
That's crazy.
And sometimes faster and shorter range, right? So it's like you're not in 3 seconds, you're not going to see it coming.
Right. No, not at all.
It's
And
happening.
You can't react. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Like there's no way that I could draw me specifically right now with the amount of training that I have and proficiency. There's no way that I could draw a pistol within 3 seconds and 3 feet and be successful.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Or even just like carrying a bag and you have to unzip the bag.
If it's in a fanny pack or what, even if it's under your shirt in a belt line in a retention holster,
Still not enough time.
you're still going to have trouble. And what if somebody's on top of you?
Yeah.
So that's kind of their point, is like somebody's going to be on top of you at that point. So knowing how to like press with your head or, you know, to get to your
That's where your
platform.
jiu-jitsu comes in.
Jiu-jitsu's not really good for that because jiu-jitsu's all like pull you close. So like Graham Dune, teaches his version of it. It's called gunjitsu. And then in the military, they teach combatives, right? Like kind of separating yourself with enough distance to where you can get to a firearm or something like that. So
I feel like I need to take some classes like
good.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for body awareness and knowing where your body's at and knowing how to move your weight around and influence somebody else's position. I think it's great for that.
Yeah.
But
But
other
it's not
than
like
that,
the combative.
yeah, like if it's a knife situation, the last thing you want to do is pull somebody closer to you, I think, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people argue that it's better to be closer to somebody because then they can't, they don't have as much range. But
I'm just going
I
to
just
take my
don't want to
chances
be
and run, probably.
Yeah. But just being prepared, I think, for that is huge. And if people are experiencing it that often, like another statistic that Jeremiah dropped on here is you're just as likely as a normal law-abiding citizen to get in a gun altercation as an FBI agent.
Really?
The statistics are exactly the same.
You're not helping our case with the whole...
No.
But most people don't. But think about how many people own guns that don't use them for that kind of stuff,
Exactly. I don't.
Right.
My gun's
There's
pretty
so
much
many
staying
people that
locked
have
out.
a gun. It's so interesting because I had a lady ask me a long time ago. She said, because we have handguns and rifles and all this stuff in our house, and she asked me, real serious. I mean, she meant this. She said, "Don't you feel very unsafe having guns in your house?"
Really?
And I looked at her and I was like, "Don't you feel unsafe not having a gun in your house?
Yeah.
Like it's not just gonna fire on its own,
Exactly.
And I was like, what are you going to do if somebody starts breaking into your house?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to call 911. Why? Because the police are going to come. They're going to have weapons. It's just, don't you want to be able to, because like you were saying, it happens so fast. Don't you want to be able to react and have protection?
Response times are not what people think.
Yeah.
Like,
even just being on hold on 911,
yeah, you're looking at like 6 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if something's happening to you in 3 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
This is why I'm a big advocate too for some stop the bleed and carrying some of that stuff with you, like a tourniquet or packing gauze at minimum, or knowing how to pull your t-shirt off and pack a wound. Like that stuff is important. Like you're more likely to experience a car wreck where somebody has a major arterial bleed.
Right.
And maybe it's one of your family members, and knowing how to stop that effectively to maybe save their life, because a human can bleed out, and I think it's like 60 seconds or something.
Really?
And you lose consciousness yourself within like, I think it's like 15 or 20. So like if that's in your car
Yeah.
and you're in the grocery store, you're dead.
Right.
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 So man, there's so many, you can't live your life in fear.
Yeah.
But I
be
think there's
prepared.
also a level of preparedness for confidence, right?
Right.
Like look at the current state that we're living in now. And that's kind of my point. Like, why is it a bad thing that 100 criminals got arrested?
I know. Yeah. I don't understand.
And are being
They're not
deported.
victims.
Right. These are people that are seeking out vulnerable people
Right.
without guns, without, the easy targets.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, I think too that going back to like some of these skills, I think that that's why too, like people that go to the backcountry, like they have these survival skills. They learn them. We have to, because
You're
you
kinda
can't be unprepared when you're in the backcountry.
It's unsmart to go out there without some sort of survival skills
Right.
or some sort of survival kit. It's like some sort of, trauma kit. Because it's fucking dangerous out there. Like
or even just backup batteries. I like one of
Yeah.
the first times we packed out, I didn't have backup batteries for my headlamp. And, thankfully my husband had an extra set. Again, he's my guide.
Yep.
But ever since then, like you just got to check the list and make sure you got backup batteries and your kit,
Yeah, you're not
all
getting
the
it
stuff.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Or even just a fire backup, like
Yeah.
knowing how to make
Yep.
fire with sticks. Like that's why Donnie Dust is such a badass. Like he can literally a loincloth and
Yeah.
that's
I
about
didn't
it.
need
And
this
a
guy.
water bottle. Yeah. And he's good, like a steel water bottle. And he's
Yeah.
like, can make shit out of stone and hunt and provide. He just did a jungle survival thing that he put up on YouTube that's badass. Go to his channel
kinda
real
like
quick.
alone?
So yeah. But he's doing a lot of the stuff on his own now.
His Instagram.
Yeah, go to Donnie Dust.
I feel like Alone is such an incredible show.
I honestly have never watched it.
You
I have
haven't?
trouble watching. Oh, this is actually from the Bison. You wanted to see some of those.
Oh yeah,
Go to his reels, maybe?
it's just amazing what people.
Or if you
come
go to
up
his
with.
YouTube. Yeah, Donnie's been on like 3 seasons of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've seen a couple episodes. I'd rather just go do it with him.
But it's Alone.
That's
You
yeah,
would be
I
with
probably fell, huh? Can't have a friend. Yeah, it sucks because on that show you have to bring like your own cameras and shit too.
Yeah,
It's that first
yeah.
one. 3 days in the jungle,
So he lives here.
solo. Yeah.
He's in Colorado.
Yep. One of my favorite humans, for sure.
Yeah, you do need better internet.
Yes. We're getting Starlink now that I just bashed it. No, I don't know. I just don't want to be connected everywhere I go all the fucking time.
Yeah, no, me neither.
And I don't want people knowing that I can be connected, especially now. It's been a lot. Like, it's just like constantly.
Everything going off, like we were saying.
And they're
earlier.
all like great opportunities too.
Yeah.
Like, you
Well,
know,
that's like going back to when we're in the backcountry and not having any cell phone service, or because even when you get back, like, do you even just turning the TV on? Like when you get back from a 6-day trip where you're in the backcountry, you know,
right.
and you get back and you're sitting in the living room and you turn on the TV, does it feel like it's just so loud and obnoxious? And
I hate it.
I turn it back off. I'm like, no, I want it to be silent again.
Well, wait
you know?
till you don't have children, do you?
I don't. So no.
Oh man, and they start throwing shit around, or the next thing you know,
Yeah.
you're playing Mario Golf with them, and you're like, "This is fucking too much," you know? Like I can't,
Yeah, no.
can't handle this.
Overstimulation. And I'd be like, I'm going back
Yeah, I have to like kind of decompress. I have to check
Yeah.
myself a little bit
before you come home.
Typically, one of my excuses. This is nobody's ever heard this before, so my family. This is
great.
no disrespect to you. I fucking love you all so much. But it's one of the reasons why I butcher my own meat, because then I have a purpose. It's like, I'm going to be in the
yeah,
garage,
yeah.
and it kind of helps me decompress.
Well, I think that's important.
It's hard to come back from something like that. And
Yeah.
I think that this is where military guys
That's
cover
what I was about to say. It's like I
Yeah.
can't even imagine what it's like for them coming
back from a war zone.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've been out in the backcountry by my on my choice.
Yeah.
To hunt, and they've
Right.
been overseas and having to come back into the real world in America.
Yeah, they call
It's
it
like-
operator syndrome, especially the guys that perform at a high level, like SEALs or Green Berets or Rangers, or sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, MARSOC Marines. The Air Force has something, but I don't think they count or something like that. I can't remember. Anyways, that's what, all those guys are such alphas that all the other guys suck and all the other platoons
Yeah,
suck,
yeah.
right? It's all about whatever their branch and unit was or
Yeah.
whatever. But
yeah, I can't imagine.
they call
what
it
it's like for
operator
them.
syndrome because they're just so used to this crazy adrenaline. You're hunting man.
Yeah,
I mean, really, all these guys are hunting at
Right.
the highest level with the most sophisticated equipment, and you come back and you're trying to figure out what cereal to buy in the cereal
right.
aisle. It's like, fuck
people are
this.
complaining their
they just
coffee's
don't
cold
care.
or-
right,
yeah.
or the lid came off my Starbucks cup or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, we've become very, very complacent. I think that's the biggest thing that I get out of the backcountry is like it regrounds me.
recenters
It
you.
takes
Yeah.
me 3 days to get acclimated to
Yeah.
being out there,
that's true.
where I really feel like, okay, now I'm in tune. Now I
Mm-hmm.
can really hunt.
Yeah, because you're
And
still
then
thinking about work or whatever when you first get out there. So yeah, it takes
your mind
takes
starts
a little bit of
wandering.
time, yep.
Yep. Especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. And then coming back, it takes me a good 3 days to kind of reacclimate back to like there's no way I would end a hunting trip early if I had to like just get on a plane and go somewhere. Like I have, coming from the rock and roll industry and stuff, I've been around people so many crowds, but actually being one in the herd is so hard for me. Like just being in a big crowd or
Yeah,
like not
yeah.
knowing where my exit plan is. Like
Right.
I'm a psychopath a little bit, right? Like when it comes down to that, like,
No, you're prepared.
yeah, sitting in a restaurant, I'm like, oh no, can I sit at that table? You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's closer to the door. Or
Right.
it's- my back's turned, or certain things like that. Or there's only certain spots that I'll sit on a plane.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's that?
I only will sit
the
in an
back?
aisle seat. I'll take another flight. Yeah.
Just-
I want the ability to get up if I have to
Yeah, that
and
makes
help
sense.
somebody or take somebody out if I had to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then I travel with some stuff. I should be more open about this because I think everybody should, because I think collectively the stronger that we are as a population, the less threats we're going to have, right?
Right.
So I travel in my backpack. I always travel with a cat tourniquet. You can go through TSA with it. You can go through TSA with a flathead screwdriver as long as it's not over 7 inches. So that's
Didn't
a
know
pretty
that.
good
Yeah.
alternative weapon. There's actually some tactical companies out there like Half Face Blades that makes a tactical flathead screwdriver. And then also Dynamis makes one as well. It's Crush Everything. It's Dom Rosso. He's a former SEAL. They make a tactical flathead. It's both great companies.
Yeah.
But then some gauze, you know, like highly unlikely you're going to get in a hijacking, but a plane crash is more probable,
Yeah.
right? Where you might need to save somebody's life or your own life. So
You're the person to travel with. How many
Yeah.
bags do you have with you?
zip ties in case you got to handcuff somebody, right? In case you got to restrain somebody. Some heavy duty zip ties. Just one backpack. It's just one little compartment in my backpack.
And that's your travel bag.
I have 2 sets of zip tie handcuffs, basically. They're just zip ties. Like anybody can buy them. You can go to Home Depot and buy the
Yeah.
heavy duty zip ties. The tourniquet, actually 2 tourniquets, 2 packages of packing gauze, the flathead,
And you've never had them
and a
like
flashlight.
interesting. So when it goes through security, do they ever like pull it out and look through it?
The tactical screwdriver I get stopped for every
think
once
so,
in a while,
yeah.
and I have to show them in the TS. No, get your rule book.
Right.
It says right here, this is 6. They pull out a tape measure. I actually started traveling with a small tape measure in case I get stopped. I'm like, hey, here's a tape measure. It's under 7 inches. I can go through
Yeah.
with it.
Huh.
So you can go through with
That's
tools,
interesting. Yeah, I didn't know
certain
about-
tools. Like you can't go through with a box cutter.
You can?
No, you cannot.
Oh, I thought you were saying
Yeah.
you can.
I
Yeah,
think you
no.
can go through
Because
one
that's what
with.
they had in 9/11, right?
Right.
Box cutter.
Yeah, I think you can go through with one without blades,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But if it's like a folding knife or something, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah. Yep. I've
But
done
a
that before.
screwdriver, right? Like that's pretty effective.
Yeah. I've taken my backpack because I love to carry my backpack on
Mm-hmm.
trips just because it's like the best luggage.
Yeah.
But I've forgotten to take out my knives.
Oh, that sucks.
I know. And it was in Denver at DIA. And they have a mailbox thing that you can mail it back to
Yeah,
yourself.
but then you got to go all the way back out through security.
And it was like $60 to mail it back. I'm like, this is like a Benchmade knife. I think it was like $30 to begin with.
Right.
You know? I'm shipping it back to my house.
well,
for
some of those
60.
knives, like I don't travel with my expensive knives anymore,
Yeah.
just because I've had them stolen before and stuff. And some of my knives are, $300-$400
Mm-hmm.
for a knife. Well, even that tactical screwdriver, I think, is $200 or something like
Yeah.
that. But
So you've
a
got like
flat-
the TSA booklet that you carry with you too. You're like,
no,
"Nah."
they have that. You got to talk to a supervisor, but you're going to get stopped for 30 minutes, and you have
Yeah.
to advocate. So honestly, what I started doing was just traveling with a cheap screwdriver, and I'm just like, fucking take it.
Yeah.
And I just don't have it for that flight. It's not worth it,
Yeah.
to go through all that and be an asshole. And like, I hate being an asshole, and especially to somebody that's just trying to do their job.
Right.
Right?
That'd be a rough job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think people should be able to travel with a flathead screwdriver? Probably not. Right?
Yeah, depending on the person, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a loophole, I guess, right? But I mean, that's also why we have federal marshals on flights and
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more prominent than you think. They're on a lot of flights
Yeah.
nowadays, yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
Like
that
we
is
need
good.
law
We need
enforcement,
that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's nice to know that they're out there.
Yeah,
protecting
having
us.
a police presence in an airport,
Right.
it's peace of mind, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Or especially in a crowd, like they need to be around. Mm-hmm. So, well, shit, we are coming up on time. We are literally have been at this for almost 2 hours.
really?
Before
is
we
great.
jump off,
Yeah.
if you have a little bit more time, we'll have you back. This has been
Yeah, this is
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really
very
enjoyed
cool.
having you in. Do you have anything coming up? I know that you're heavily involved in fitness and some gyms and stuff like that. Do you do any sort of training or like?
So I do go to a couple gyms in Colorado Springs. One's Forge Fitness,
Nice.
group classes. But I do training for the Pikes Peak Ascent.
Oh, nice.
So have you heard of
we didn't even dive into
the
that.
Ascent and the Marathon? I don't know
Let's.
if you've
Do you
heard
have
of
some
them.
more time?
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome race. So this is, I think it's the 70th year of the Ascent and the 71st for the marathon. But
Okay.
so have you been to Pikes Peak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you driven to the top or the
I've
or
I've done both. I've hiked,
nice.
but we drove part of it, so not the
Okay.
full ascent, right?
So when you hike, did you hike just Bar Trail? Does that ring a
Yeah.
bell? Okay.
Yep.
So that's the race. The race is on Bar Trail.
Okay.
It starts in downtown Manitou Springs.
I love Manitou.
So you run the road until you get to the trail.
Okay.
And then you run the trail. So it's 13.3 miles up to the top, and it's around 7,800 feet elevation gain.
Yeah, it's a tote.
It is. But it was so fun. So last year was my first year doing it. And
Okay.
I had a goal. I wanted to do it because the cutoff time was like 6.5 hours. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, my goal is going to be 5.5 hours.
Do you do the incline there too?
I do the incline.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a beast too.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
Yes.
You come down to do
Yep.
it? Yeah. Let me know next time you're there.
Yeah, I went for 1 year for the 9/11
Oh, yeah.
memorial thing,
Yeah,
and there's
that's
so many
awesome.
fucking people. It was awesome.
That's
so
very
rad.
cool experience. But yeah, so my goal was 5.5 hours, and I got it in like 4:39.
Wow.
So now I'm like, all right, going back to like challenging myself, and so now I'm kind of hooked, and I want to.
And it's in your backyard, so you
It's
can
right in
train
my
it all the
backyard.
time.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what's super cool that they still do the Pikes Peak uphill race, like the motorcycle and
Yep.
cars?
Yeah. The
That's crazy.
international hill climb.
Yeah, my grandfather
It's in
actually
June.
raced in that on
No
a
way.
motorcycle, and then I have a friend of mine that's won it a couple times.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Mickey Diamond, shout out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
the race to the
grandfather did it
clouds.
on like an old Triumph, like I want to say it was 59 or
That's crazy.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
Do you have any pictures? be
We
cool
do
to
have
see.
some family photos of it, and we had the bike for a while. I think my grandfather ended up selling it, which I should have bought it. But it was this old Triumph. It was just a badass motorcycle.
that's crazy.
Super cool.
To fly up Pikes Peak Highway would be nuts.
Yeah,
That's so cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
super cool. That's a
I
cool
think-
mountain.
I
A lot of
think they've
history
been doing
there.
it for like 100 years.
A long
Yeah,
time.
it's been a long time for the hill
Yeah,
climb.
it's like a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But the Ascent, how long has the Ascent been going?
So
It's
I
been going a
I think
while,
it's
too.
70 years this year. That
Wow.
it's been going on. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I think too, like, because last year it was just, I mean, it's a lot of training for
Mm-hmm.
it, but it kind of also bleeds into, because the race is in September and then hunting is in
Why
October.
does everything cool happen in September?
I know. It's hard for the archery
Yeah.
season, guys, but it works well for me if I'm going
Right.
off a rifle, because then I'm in like the best shape in September and then go out in
Absolutely.
October. But yeah, it was a beautiful day, like awesome weather, the energy, like the crowd's just awesome. Like it's a really fun race.
That's badass. Is it a lot of locals, or do people travel in?
Kind of a little bit of everything. I feel like last year they said there was around 13 people that were from different countries.
Oh,
Or
wow.
no, sorry, 13 different countries that were represented there.
Wow.
But then there are a lot of locals. Just people from all over do it.
And then how do you get involved with that? Is it like a lottery system like Leadville, or
Not
is
with the
like
Ascent.
anybody can enter? Or
You have to do a qualifying race beforehand, but it can be self-timed.
God, I hate running though.
Oh, but you could love it.
I know I should be better. I went for a
Add it to
3-mile
the
run
list.
today.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You're already training.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
plenty of time.
I walked some of it, so
Hey,
I'm
well,
not gonna
doesn't
lie.
matter.
I walk on concrete. I refuse to run
Yeah.
on concrete.
It's actually surprising how much you walk or hike fast on the Ascent.
Yeah,
Especially
sometimes
like a
that's
Congo line.
faster, right? Like we've
Yeah.
had multiple ultra runners on the podcast,
Yeah.
and they even do that. Like
Right.
they're like, it's
It's more
faster
efficient.
pace,
Yeah. Yep.
safer.
Yeah. So, and the you get in this line of peoples where you're like trying to pass people, but it kind of spreads out. Like once you get farther up the mountain, and
I'd be at the back.
you do better than you think.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll come do it with you. Maybe we could just do that one day. It would be super rad. No
Yeah,
race.
just hike it.
Well, yeah, that
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Super
Do
cool.
the
So-
incline.
Are you doing it this year? And if people want to train with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I am in Colorado Springs, so I train normally 3 days a week. I'm out running, so
Wow.
they can find me on Instagram if they want to meet up and go for a run. I'm
Okay.
not like a crazy ultra runner, but I like to get out and hit different trails, and that's
Awesome.
what's awesome about Colorado. We have so many trails in our backyard.
There's so much.
and-
Like
yeah.
today, I'm like, why do I never leave Evergreen. Like I was in
Yeah.
Denver and I specifically drove back to here because I was like, there's so
Evergreen's
many
awesome.
trails. Yeah.
I've never been downtown.
Yeah, don't
Evergreen
tell
before.
anybody.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I thought it was horrible.
I'm kind of most hated here for blowing it up a little bit, but yeah, no, it's a great spot. There's
Yeah.
just Colorado in general. There's like 40% of the state is public land.
Yeah,
So you can get
yeah.
on a trail.
Right.
Like you can drive to the Colorado Trail in 30 minutes
Yeah.
from here, and it's
We're very spoiled here.
beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
And I miss my family in Georgia, and it was a great place to grow up. But yeah, the public land.
Well, they can
and
come
access
visit.
Yeah, so that's what I tell them. They come out, we hit the trails. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
Good for you. Tyler, pull up the Instagram real quick so we get that right. It's Peak Wellness or
Peak Wellness 1. Don't forget the
Pink
1.
Wellness 1. Oh,
Yeah.
there's an underscore in there too, in between
Yeah,
Peak and
I
Wellness.
should probably change that.
Yeah, definitely give Cassie a follow. Cassie, you're an amazing young woman.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
for
having
crushing
me
it.
on.
Thank you for saying yes. I know you were a little bit nervous, but how'd it go?
This was fun. This
Yeah.
was awesome. Yeah,
All right. We'll
I
do it
loved
again. Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. And yeah, thank you for advocating and everything that you're doing on that side of stuff too. We touched on it, but it's really important to me, and I want to thank you for that. And that was the main reason why I wanted to have you on today. I think more people need to hear that message and hear our side of the story. I think it's amazing what you're doing in the backcountry, so keep up after
Well,
that.
thank you. And thanks for what you do. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. I love
Yeah,
doing
it's
this.
awesome.
So thank you everybody
Very
for
cool.
listening. Tyler, take us away.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.